We've already heard that Rabbi Tibon comes to us from Kehillat Ha'Shachar in Even Yehuda. But what maybe you don't know is that Rabbi Dalia Tibon is a Sabra born, raised in Haifa. Rabbi Dalia was ordained in 2009 and served for almost 10 years as the rabbi of Kehillat Sub'am Yaakov in Zichron Yaakov. She is a member of the board of directors of Kakal JNF, Karen Kayemet L'Israel, the Jewish National Fund, co-chairing the board's education committee and representing Artseinu. For the last 2 years, Rabbi Dalia has been the leader of Kehillat Ha'Shachar in Even Yehuda while living in Zichron Yaakov with her husband Natal and their cats. Rabbi, we are so thrilled that you are with us this Shabbat. We'll invite you now to join us on screen and share with us your words of Torah. Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi. Aha.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I feel privileged. Thank you. It's really very exciting to be here this time. And we are coming to Parashat Shoftim after the reading of the previous Shabbat in Parashat Re'eh. One can say that Parashat Re'eh is all about the free choices that we have. Choices between good or evil, right or wrong. This is well articulated right from the start of the Parashat Re'eh, in its well-known opening statement, Re'eh Anochi noten lifnechem hayom bracha veklala. See, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. I see Parashat Re'eh like an ideal description of an ideal existence full of free choices, open for the ideal person who, of course, keeps doing the right choices and walking in the light of God. It seems that this week in Parashat Shoftim, we come down to earth. Well, maybe if I'm allowed to say it, more like thrown down to earth. And so Parashat Shoftim begins with the command mentioned before, Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha bechol she'arecha, asher Adonai Elohecha noten lecha leshvatecha, v'shaftu et ha'am mishpat tzedek. You shall make judges and officers in all of your gates, which Adonai your God gives you, according to your tribes, and they shall judge the people with righteous judgment. So, in real life, as it appears, we do need some judges and we do need some police officers. I guess it means that not everybody here takes only the right choice at every chance he gets. First, I would invite you to stall a moment on the Hebrew word in the name of the parasha, in the beginning of parasha, Shoftim. The Hebrew word Shoftim, judges, come from the same root as the word mishpat, sentence. The word mishpat, and interestingly enough, just like in English, has two common different meanings. Sentence can describe words joined together or connected to create a meaning, or its other use, like sentencing the law or sentencing the verdict. However, both meanings of the word mishpat, of the word sentence, point us to a concrete, tangible dimension. This dimension stands in the opposite to the various, almost endless options of the choices we had in the previous parasha, in Parashat Re'eh. According to the Jewish perception presented from the Torah and on, it's our eyes, our sense of sight, and the ability to see the spectrum that is metaphorically connected with our freedom to choose from multiple options. This idea is expressed in many places, among those even the phrase that I just read before, see. I said before you this day a blessing and a curse, or it said also in our own parasha, in Parashat Shoftim, see, I have set before this day life and good, death and evil. But we all know that it's not always so easy to choose right, especially when one has maybe even too many options to choose from. We know that our eyes can be sometimes quite deceiving. Hence the common saying about judging the book or not judging the book by its cover. And hence is the covering of our eyes while chanting together Shema Israel. We close our eyes and we open our ears for the Shema, for hearing, so we can hear the call of God. Whenever the Torah wants us to obey, we'll find the use of verbs like hearing or like listening, just like Na'aseh v'nishma. We will do and we will hear. A saying which is translated in all the different versions that I could find in English already in this context. And it's translated usually to all that Adonai has spoken, we will do and be obedient. Well, our term, our word, sentence, mishpat, is part of the same family. It is a term of clarity, of one single meaning, of justice. And justice, like in the ancient mythologies, is supposed to be both blind and definitive. From the personal perspective of choosing good over evil in Parashat Re'eh last week, we come to Parashat Shoftim at this Shabbat that is all about the collective. It's all about the structures of a society dealing with those who eventually chose wrong. Well, in that case, we do need judges and we do need police officers, which is actually, again, more accurate translation to the word shotrim. And they will be seated in the gates of our town, because in real life, with real people, we do need walls, and sometimes we do need the protection of the walls. But the gates will be kept open, with their surrounding vibrant and central to the town, unless it's time to close them because of threat or danger. Living with and among our human weaknesses means also that we will be at one time or another in a need for an army. So Parashat Shoftim also lays before us the ancient rules of war ethics as well. The Torah knows well that in wartime, soldiers are in the grave potential of choosing wrong. And so it said in our parasha, when you approach to a city to fight against it, you should first proclaim peace unto it. Like this, Parashat Shoftim includes the command to set apart 3 cities of refuge for whom that killed another by accident or with no intent. It also presents, and Rabbi, you addressed that before, it also presents in length the rules and the legal steps to be taken in the case of life that were taken, or by a known murder, or by accident with no intent, or even if the killer is unknown. It emphasizes the huge significance of honest witnesses to be fully trusted before waging in their testimonies in the criminal justice process. I think Parashat Shoftim is a challenging reflection of the broken human nature. Like most of Sefer Dvarim, Deuteronomy, that lays before us the last words of Moshe, as he lays down on Har Nevo mountain, as he can see the promised land, knowing that his people will continue their journey in becoming a nation without his leadership. By now, Moshe is realistic, almost pragmatic. He knows challenges waiting for them. He knows well their weaknesses. And it is like he is in a rush to equip them with the right social and governmental tools in the true endless mission at large, which is to foster justice. Interestingly enough, it's in Parashat Shoftim that one of my favorite psukim, my favorite maybe pasuk, is hidden between the detailed law and order system that reflects our common broken human nature and morals. In chapter 18, it said first in Hebrew, I will read it first in Hebrew. It said, Tamim tiyeh im Adonai Elohecha. And there are a few ways to translate Tamim tiyeh im Adonai Elohecha. And I found that in the different version, different translating, meaning different meaning. But what is amazing, that they are all correct and all a legit understanding of the phrase Tamim tiyeh im Adonai Elohecha. It can be translated as, you shall be blameless before Adonai your God, or it can be also, you shall be perfect before Adonai your God, or you should be wholehearted before Adonai, or completely faithful, and so on. That is because the word tamim contains so many different layers of various meanings. It can be the naivety of a child. It can be the innocence of the blameless. And it also means something that is still kept as a whole. Nothing damaged, nothing taken away yet from the wholeness or from the completeness. So Parashat Shoftim deals with what is broken in our society, but gives us a call for innocence, as well as a call for wholeness. The Jewish philosopher Akiva Ernest Simon wrote about what he called the second innocence. It is so to differ from the first innocence, the innocence of a child. This innocence is natural and expected. The second innocence, described to us Simon, the second innocence belongs to adults that stood during their lifetime on the crossroads and in an aware decision chose the right or the moral path to do and to pursue justice. Every year, we read in Parashat Shoftim at the first Shabbat of Chodesh Elul, the months of tshuva and slichot, the months of reflection, cleansing, and forgiveness. In the beginning of the months of Elul, I see the second innocence open to us. I want to believe it's a gate for completeness. It's a gate for all of us who are a little broke now. It's the optimistic healing hope that we should keep close to our hearts whenever we go through challenges, difficulties, heartbreak, or despair. And some of them are truly hard, almost like 2020 stuff. So when we go through those troubling times, maybe we can draw some comfort from keeping our own dignity or in taking the right moral decisions, even when it's not so easy. And like Rabbi Nachman's saying, there is nothing more complete than a once broken heart. I do hope and I do pray we all get in peace from the other end of all this. And maybe even we'll find that we took this time to grow a little bit, maybe just a little bit better. So thank you so much, and Shabbat Shalom.